What is PR theory?
And practice like
The first question. In your view, how would you define public relations and what does it do for an organization or company?
The one that I like is the one that talks about public relations being the application of strategic communications to improve relationships between an organization and its various stakeholders or publics.
What does it do for an organization or a company?
PR helps to improve relationships, right? We're getting to a point where companies are beginning to realize that the relationships with not just internally with the employees, but also externally with various stakeholders, including the environment, the business environment and government and so on is very important.
What are the differences between a company or an organization that has PR and one that does not have PR?
Probably there's no company without PR. They just don't realize they're doing PR. However, for those who apply it and apply it strategically, there's a sense in which they are remembered by their various audiences and stakeholders in a particular way, and they are set apart.
So I have two questions. My first one being, what does a job in PR look like? Like what do you do daily? And what skills would one need for such a job?
Okay, so writing, public speaking, analytical thinking, strategic thinking. You need to be very good in your relationships. You have to be a very good listener, and the digital skills are very important. But now, how does the work look? It's different in different environments. But usually, you're like working in an ER. Okay, you're always on call. Yeah, because of the one thing that's happening more and more today, which is crisis. Even customer service skills. That's another one to add. You need to be a trustworthy person. Can you keep a confidence or not?
So what challenges would you say that you face, let's say, in this field?
The challenges will be, there'll always be organizational politics, because once you realize what the value of PR, you become very invaluable to your boss. But the people believe that PR should not be reporting directly to the boss. In the public sector, for instance, they have this monster called Director of Corporate Services, and so the PR guys feed in there. But good practice PR demands that you report directly to the head of the organization, because you can't go through 1,001 people to tell him what to say.
my name is Trevour James Maloba. Okay, I have like 2 or 3 questions. One is, did you really study PR for you to be a PR practitioner in a government organization?
First, I'll refer you to my LinkedIn. Please do look at my LinkedIn, and I will gladly become your connection so you can see what I've done. I studied journalism with a minor in public relations at USIU. Then I've always been in business, and I started a PR firm with my brother, and that's what we've been doing. And then I kind of got headhunted into government. Do you need to study PR? Yes, you should, right? Because a lot of people believe they can just come in and do PR just off the whims and everything. Like in everything in life, you don't just decide to wake up and become a lawyer. And so I did study it, and then I joined the PRSK. I sit on the council of PRSK, and there are a lot of good programs there for students, and I think it's important that you do that. But it's important for you for networking. If your work is good, the networks there start to notice your work. You build your professional network. I did study PR as a minor, and then I did a few courses as a PRSK member to just freshen up and everything. But a lot of it came from just working. The theoretical foundation is very important. If asked today, can you do a communication plan? You need to understand what are the sections in a communication plan. Why are they there? What are the theories informing the inclusion of those things from a deep point? Yeah? So that you can argue and you can reason with people and also educate them and help them understand why it should be there. Because half the time you're going to be, that's another skill. Presentation skills, by the way, persuasive presentation skills. you're always going to have to try and persuade people to your cause. So, Trevor, I hope I've
Yeah.
answered your question.
Yeah, you answered the question and then you brought out the next question. You say that you had started a company with your brother. Where do you see public relations in the next 5 years in this country? Yeah.
First, I think PR, there's going to be a lot of consolidation of PR firms. Secondly, there's a whole debate about whether you should have an in-house PR or an external agency. That debate will always be there. And sometimes there's a question of, sometimes you want a different perspective. That's where the external people come in. Sometimes you can't afford to have all those people in-house to do 2 or 3 campaigns in a year. It's not cost effective. So I think PR firms will still be there in the long run. The question is whether they're going to bring in value. As for the
Yeah.
future of PR, I feel it's very bright, right? People are speaking less about marketing and a lot more about public relations. There's a reason, right? We're realizing that reputation matters. Let me clarify one thing. People see PR as just media relations, right? Get in the media. PR is broader
Yeah.
than that. Okay? Remember, I spoke about strategic communications to deal with your stakeholders or publics. Media is one way to reach those stakeholders and publics, and indeed they are one of them, but they're not everything. If I were you guys, I would get little certifications in these things. Yeah. Right now,
Yeah.
for you guys, as you're going into the job market, think about strategy. What's your individual strategy?
I have one more question. You had said you had begun a PR firm with your brother. How would you advise anyone who would like to set up a PR office or begin their own PR firm?
I would start by saying, like in any, you need to have the technical skill of PR, but also you need to understand business. Because in business, unless you're solving a problem, you're in a bad business.
Thank you.